So when we say microlearning, what's the first thing that comes to our mind? Most people think, oh, it's a 2-minute tutorial and I'll be an expert, right?
It's true and not true at the same time. The right way of looking at microlearning. Microlearning is a lot more than just bite-sized videos or small videos. It is all about creating interactive quizzes, giving you the right data or the right knowledge in small bites of content. It is also creating certain videos like scenarios and all. But you need to weave everything together, make it like a small experience for the learners. That is what microlearning is all about.
Absolutely. I think it's all meant for the learners to absorb and, retain knowledge. And, just like how we learned in school, we didn't cram the entire years of math syllabus in one go. We did fractions one week, geometry the next. And microlearning is built on the same principle. We are able to break it down, keep it manageable, and also reinforce the gaps, right?
Yeah, very right. I think if it is not manageable, then there are a lot of scope for things going wrong. Because if you leave a lot of gaps in the middle of your knowledge, then people will fill those gaps with assumptions, and that is where mistakes can happen. Recently, we did a project, or we did a kind of a micro-learning module for a chemical industry client of ours. And so initially what was the problem was that material handling in their plant was not happening in the right way. There were many accidents happening, a lot of messaging was being misread, and the entire operations was suffering because of that, which is a very bad state for any company to be in.
Definitely. I think, those kind of, when you say chemical companies, it reminds me of how these companies must be training their employees. Maybe it's just they're using only PowerPoint or way too much theory in their content, which is not helping the users to retain knowledge, right?
Exactly. So that is why we then, we took all the knowledge that they had, all the awareness things about the chemicals, how critical it is for them to handle those chemicals with care, is what all our employees, all the workers need to understand. And especially in India, these are not educated people. These are workers who come from a very, very humble backgrounds, and training them in what effects those chemicals can have on their lives is very much important. That is where they will understand why taking care and being organized on the shop floor is important. And that is where these micro learnings that we created for them, which were small bite-sized videos about how to use the PPE kits, how to handle the chemicals in case of leakages, how to handle the surroundings, how to take care if they get exposed to those chemicals, all those things, we tried to explain them in very small bite-sized content, including interactive quizzes, videos, everything.
Right. And also in my experience, I think notifications work great as well. After learning the module or after having completed the module within a short period of time, we reinforce the learning for the users by sending notifications or some sort of interactive quizzes that enable them to remember the content that they have finished a few weeks before or a couple of months before. What do you think about that?
So let me just give you some best practices, some solutions or the best practices that are required to be done by every company in today's day and age. So the first and the most prime objective of microlearning is each module should focus on just one learning goal. For instance, how to greet a customer should be a standalone module. This keeps it clear and prevents cognitive overload.
I think that's a great point of having one objective per module, and also it's very important to keep it concise because we are trying to make the learner learn the topic in one particular module. It is very important to aim it for maybe 2 to 10 minutes per module, no more than that. And we have to remember that brevity doesn't mean cutting corners. It's also delivering the right amount of information that the user needs to learn that particular subject.
Definitely. And the next key ingredient is making content engaging. And without an engaging content, there is no way that anybody is going to even view that content or forget retaining knowledge out of it.
Definitely. I think I agree with, the content being having to be so engaging that it would allow users to know, for example, how would you respond to an angry customer in the situation of explaining customer service etiquettes, right? I think the next one we can add as a practical tip has to be having a link to real applications where practicality is the key. If employees cannot connect to the learning of their job, it is a wasted effort of that whole micro-learning module. A warehouse worker needs clear steps on how to apply the learnings that they have learned.
Definitely. See, it is always important to have all these elements, but there is no point of these elements, such engaging modules, if there is no easy access to the worker or the learner who is going to take these modules. And that is why lastly the most important part or the most important best practice has to be the easy access. Don't bury your content into an LMS where nobody is able to easily access those learning modules. Make it very easy for them to access those modules on mobiles, make them easy to access on any other devices that is available to them. And that is how we can build a culture of digital learning in India or anywhere in a corporate company, wherever you want to start doing this.
Definitely, very rightly said. I've also read somewhere where it says if your module takes more than 3 clicks to find the answers, then it's a wasted effort. But moving on, let's talk about where micro learning is useful, especially.
See, micro learning is very useful in during refresher courses. So if you want to refresh certain skills, if you want to learn something just in time before you are going to do it. For example, if you're a service engineer and you are going on a site to repair certain devices, certain machines that you have been entrusted with, and at that time there are so many troubleshooting errors that can happen which are not known really to every engineer. And these micro learning modules as can be easily viewed on his devices. He can easily go into them, understand what to do in this situation, take the necessary steps there.
I think topics like more complex topics like onboarding or leadership development or even any kind of certifications, those complex subjects definitely need more depth, and they need an entire traditional e-learning module which is more comprehensive in terms of teaching those courses. But now let's move on to some of the misconceptions about micro learning. I think one of the biggest one I have heard is microlearning is very easy to create.
Not at all. See, microlearning is not easy to create because you have to ultimately take the entire download of the subject matter, what you want to teach, and then concises into such strong messaging that even if you are trying to explain something in a one line, he should be able to understand something that is worth a page. So that is the beauty of how creative you can become in creating micro learning modules. So I don't think so. It is very easy. That is the only reason why not everybody is doing it.
Right. Definitely. And also now another misconception I've heard is think of like you're just chopping up a long course and there you have your next micro learning module. But I think based on what you said, we should be looking at like we are crafting a more focused and learning experience that delivers instant value rather than taking away too much time.
Like, see, micro learning ultimately it's not something that is suitable for everybody. It's not one size fits all. You have to craft a focused learning experience that delivers a value to the learner. And so let's not forget that whether it's a 2-minute micro learning module or a 2-hour course, the goal is the same thing: meaningful, effective learning that sticks.
Couldn't agree more. I think micro learning definitely is just not a buzzword. It is very, very useful if done correctly.